Hello, everyone. Welcome to Horror Talk here on the Kings of Horror YouTube channel. If this is your first time, please hit that like and subscribe button if you want any horror content, everything from indie movies to even interviews like we're here doing here today. Also, too, if you like interviews like this, also shoot over my channel, The Horror Realm, where there's tons of horror content as well. Today's guest, this is my second interview with him. He is a filmmaker and he has a movie out right now. Holy shit. That's all I can say is holy shit. It is called The Benefactress. I have Guerrilla Metropolitana. Guerrilla, welcome to Horror Talk.
Thank you so much, Travis. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
You too, man. I'm glad to have you back on. Now, listen, I've watched The Benefactress several times since it's been out. Please tell our guests here today a little bit about it.
The Benefactress is fundamentally an experimental piece of cinema. It is not a traditional film. It's basically the idea of detaching myself, in this case, from all classic rules of cinema, using a minimum plot, a minimum story, and from there to experiment and improvise through sexuality, sadism, a journey of complete freedom from mainstream rules, mainstream morality, and anything conventional, using cinema as a tool to break free from any kind of gravitational force, completely detached from anything classic, conventional, um, in search for enlightenment. It's a film that does not aim at giving an explanation. It's a film where the filmmaker is seen in action, uh, bringing his vision into cinema, using, on some occasions, real sexuality um, as a metaphor of complete freedom. Freedom to say no to what today is classified as morally acceptable, politically correct, and standard behavior in general. I wanted to bring sexuality, hardcore sexuality, into an art form. So this is not a porn film, but it is at the same time highly pornographic. It is not for everybody. It is very, very polarizing. Traditional horror fans might look away from this because this does not answer their desire of entertainment. This is not entertainment. This is an experiment where sexuality is brought to a very, very explosive level of freedom. That's why the film is called The Benefactress, an exposure of cinematic freedom. This is all about freedom. It's everything and nothing, everything is about freedom in this film. There's no any kind of red flag that stops, in this case, myself from achieving what I wanted.
And Gorilla, you know I've seen pretty much everything out there when it comes to film, even some intense stuff. this film is intense. It's a little bit over an hour of a woman getting sexually assaulted, raped. Uh, Even some necrophilia is in this movie, and it's scene by scene, cut by cut of this woman's the torture that she's going through. It's pretty fucking intense, man. It's pretty fucking intense. So I mean, as a filmmaker, I can imagine, so you have two actresses in this movie. You have Juicy X, as well as Mystery Woman, who's a woman who decided to keep her identity secret. How was it? What was it like to find two actresses to take on this part?
It was an absolute nightmare, to be honest with you. I went through a very, very long list of female candidates. In total, it was about 200 female candidates, from some from United States, some from Europe, um, some with acting experience, some without acting experience. Some of them were interested, but for one reason or another, I did let them go. Um, Other candidates were interested, but then they pulled out. Other candidates were interested, but their husbands did not agree with the idea of their wives being in my film. In one particular occasion, there was an American ex porn actress, who wanted to be in the film badly, but her husband, when he got to know this, he actually sent me a messenger a message on Messenger saying, it basically sent me death threats.
Wow.
And
Sorry to hear
not, that, not that I care. I mean, I told him clearly, I'm not interested in you. I'm interested in your wife. So fuck you. Um, that was not an issue. The issue was to find the right women who truly didn't have any problem in regards to family members, friends, and even to the fact of being in this film and be wild. Um, at the end, I decided to cast as a lead actress Juicy X, which starred in a short film I did previously called Corporate Torment, It Burns Like Hell. Originally, she wasn't meant to be the protagonist. She was meant to be in the film, but not as the main actress. Then, once the main actress, which she came from Mississippi, her name was Dawn, brilliant actress, but she had some issues with documents and she could not fly to Britain. So I had to let it go. And I decided to cast Juicy X in the main role. As for the co-star, Mystery Woman, again, the idea originally was to cast a much younger actress, and I went through a long list of candidates, and at the end, almost by accident, I saw Mystery Woman's picture on social media under her real name. She is a British actress, just like Juicy X. I fell in love with her beauty, and I did contact her and asked her if she was willing to be in my film. She said yes, and we became very close, intimately, and we decided to be together in this film. And I did find also other female performers who did agree to appear in the film, also with aliases, for various reasons. And at the end, I decided to have this cast of actresses, and start from here. And with Mystery Woman, some of the sexual scenes in the film between me and her are real. I did ask her, of course. She said yes, no problem. So some of the stuff that goes on in the film between the two of us is actually real. Um, Even the ejaculation I had on Juicy X's buttocks is real. Both actresses did not have any problem with hardcore sexuality. They kept on performing. They were absolutely magnificent. They were brave, um, you know, renegade, absolute wild, and they allowed me to fulfill my vision in this film and not to have any kind of inhibition. It was us in this house just outside of London for a weekend, and it was pretty much a weekend of cinematic orgy, depravity, and um, and madness. We were creating art, and the vibrations were absolutely beautiful. And yeah, and at the end, I decided um, to have this cast of actresses because they were the ones who truly could deliver what I had in mind.
Now, one of the things that you said, when it came to selecting Mystery Woman as one of your actors was that you saw a picture of her vagina and it was the perfect butterfly. It was the perfect vagina. Now, what made her vagina so perfect?
I've always been obsessed with vaginas that are almost um, poetic in terms of visual beauty. Let me explain. Not every woman is the same. When I did contact Mystery Woman, one of the questions ask, I did ask if she could be smooth, shave for me, so I could take a good look at her, and she did. And and when I saw what she looked like, she had the labia almost like wings of an angel, almost like wings of a butterfly, and it was so beautiful, so visually poetic, that obviously the first thought I had in mind was to physically possess this woman for real, even though um, you know I didn't really know her, but seduction was in place. Um, and I told her clearly, I want you for real. For me, was like seeing for the first time a dream come true. I've always been interested in women's body, and I come from painting background and music. So when I was a young student of art in Rome, I used to have often friends, female, male, coming, at home with me and to pose naked for me. And a lot of the times, obviously, there was sex afterwards. But my search was to capture when it came down to women, the perfect, well, to me anyway, the perfect form of femininity. And Mystery Woman had that, and I wanted to capture that in my film.
Now, in my mind, if I was a filmmaker and if the perfect vagina was in front of me, I would be like, damn, I want to give that a try. But at the same time, I'm a filmmaker. Unless you're working in pornography or something like that, that is out of the realm. But when it came to your movie, you were explaining to me that all of the sex scenes, all the penetration, all the fellatio, this really happened. Take me into the mindset when, as a filmmaker, when you're on that set and you're like, the perfect vagina is in front of me, and that you knew that it was a possibility that you were going to penetrate her.
To me, there isn't any difference really between um, vision, cinema, um, sexual urges. Um, to me, they all blend together. Mystery Woman knew I wanted her. So she was mentally prepared that that weekend we were going to shoot a film and I was going to have her for real. Um, I told her that there was no way that I wasn't going to have her. And I wanted to capture that fire in my film, because to me that is not detached from my vision of cinema. My actresses in general are in some way my mistresses. Um, it's not a relationship typical that you might find in traditional filmmakers. I can ask an actress, get undressed, come close to me, and I might get hard. And then 2 minutes later, I would ask her to lie down in bed and I will start filming her as I masturbate or ejaculate. The process of creation is within that, it's not separate from that.
So, what do you think separates you from other filmmakers that your actors and actresses are willing to be so free with you? Would it be mentally or sexually?
Well, first of all, I want to make one thing very clear. It's always with consent.
100%.
It's not some kind of predator-like behavior. It's always with consent, and it's always the product of seduction. It's always the product of you know um, vibration. Um, I choose my actresses very carefully because um, I always look for those actresses who are willing to go beyond. Juicy X, for example, the protagonist, um, she had probably the most beautiful breasts I ever seen in my life, and I've seen thousands of women's breasts. And she knew I always fancied her, and and she was perfectly comfortable with the idea of me being around her, filming her, and being aroused, excited, and it was okay. It is about creating art, and yes, if there is sexuality or sexual feelings or sexual vibrations, it's very much part of my cinematic world. It's not something that actresses respond to it with astonishment, like, "Oh my God, what is this?" No, they know what kind of filmmaker I am, and they know that at one point um, they will be in one way or another part of that process.
So this question I have for you. This movie, I'm not giving away spoilers in this, but this movie shows how cruel, how how disgusting, how nasty women can be, and how women, which put in the right situation, can be the ultimate villain. I mean, as a man, I've seen that wrath of a woman, and they can go further into the fucking dark zone than any man could ever. So why do so many people? I've seen reviews, I've seen comments, I've seen critics talk, and they say, especially feminists, they say that this is misogynistic. This is you know putting down women. How can this movie put down women if the main villain in this movie is a woman?
Good question. Again, this film is not directed to individuals like feminists, who I personally despise. I'm a libertarian, and I am very much a free creature. I don't hide behind ideologies. I don't hide behind political correct um, visions, as such. Women can be far more cruel than men. And if feminists or liberals in general have an issue with that, that's their problem. I mean, to me, they are less than dog shit. They mean nothing to me. If they are offended, I'm absolutely indifferent to their feelings. This film is about freedom. So if you are offended by somebody else's freedom, it's your problem. I'm not here to please liberals, and I'm not here to make everybody happy. This is about cinematic freedom. It's about being wild. It's about showing in cinema, in this particular case, that women can be far more cruel than men. Even the fact that the physicality of Juicy X, which is a quite big woman, overpowering mystery woman who is so small, so petite, that is also symbolic, indicating that the victim, mystery woman, could never ever free herself from the claws of this big and strong and powerful woman such as Juicy X. Juicy X does all kind of stuff to mystery woman. She rapes her. She gives her unwanted oral sex. She beats her up. She does all kind of things. She sodomizes her with a dildo. She does all kind of stuff in the film. And one might ask, what's the point in showing this thing? The point is that, again, beyond the concept of perversion, there's another concept, which is ultimate freedom. And that is what this film is about, is to show ultimate freedom. The ultimate freedom where there is no law, no morality, no red flag that stops you from doing whatever you want. In other words, you can do whatever you want. And we in the film use mystery woman's body as a temple of pleasure. So it's our freedom and her slavery. And that is the point of the film. Someone's slavery equals somebody else's freedom. That is the point of this film, to portray total, complete, absolute freedom to do what we want in this case, with this woman.
Now, the message I got from the movie, because I watched it several times, was that you talk about the feminist movement. Well, the message that I've got from this movie was that majority of the time, who's holding women back from freedom and success are other women. Was that a message that you were trying to say as well, subconsciously?
Feminists are the worst enemies of women because they deprive them from being what they truly are. Women are free creatures, they can do whatever they want. And instead, feminists, they tend to box women into something that most women don't actually give a fuck about. That's why this film does not answer to feminist, um, you know, questions, because this film goes beyond. Women can be far more cruel than men. I had women who watched the film and did send me messages saying that they were wet whilst watching the film, imagining themselves to be Juicy X doing those things to Mystery Woman. I had young women, early 20s, who had a massive sexual crush on Mystery Woman. I had women who were absolutely aroused by the whole thing, and men also. I wanted to touch those buttons where sexual impulses could um, become strong and show that underneath each one of us is a wild animal. So this film once again goes into unholy territory of complete freedom. In other words, let's just say for a moment that there is no law, there is no authority, there are no rules, and people can do whatever they want without consequences. Well, that's pretty much the spirit of this film: complete freedom to do anything that goes on in somebody else's mind, in my mind, in Juicy X's mind. We can do whatever we want with Mystery Woman, the victim, anything we want.
And it's interesting that you bring that up. I've lived in third world countries and I've been to third world countries all throughout the world where the act of rape is a legal thing. It's not illegal. You know what I mean? So it's engaged upon, especially in most African countries. Rape is 100% legal. It's not common. I've seen it. A woman getting raped inside a road on broad daylight, getting raped. So it's a common thing. So like, especially when you go west, rape is not a thing it's disgusting, it's vile, which it is. But what if there was no boundaries? What if there was nothing? And I think watching something like this movie, it definitely goes into your inner perversion of what if I was in a situation and I had the freedom.
Yes, I mean, there's one scene in the film where I am penetrating Mystery Woman, and I was so full of fire, and this in the film is clearly shown, that I felt I was almost possessed by a spirit, and I lift her up from the legs and I start sucking her vividly for a few seconds, almost as if she was almost like a fruit. and then I placed it back down and carried on with my penetration. Um, Again, it's symbolic. The way I grabbed her, it's symbolic, almost like as if I own her, as if she is my property rather than a human being. Again, those things in the film are symbolic of ownership. Once you own someone, you can do anything you want, and there's nobody and nothing to stop you. This film is about that, is about the ability to really go wild through the abuse of this woman.
And what did it look like on set? This was filmed over a couple of days in one location. What was the atmosphere like on set when you hit cut in between scenes?
I mean, it was very relaxing at times. Occasionally, we had moments of fun and laughter. Um, Mystery Woman was very aroused during the filming. Juicy X was perfectly comfortable. I was full of adrenaline, very much into it. Um, there was a female safety coordinator on location, which I wanted her to be there. Um, but really, the atmosphere was almost like teenagers being naughty in this house for the weekend, walking around naked, and cracking jokes. And I was smoking like a chimney. I didn't eat. So, I mean, it was fun, but it was hard work. Hard work. Most of the film was improvised, despite that was not the plan. The plan was to follow my own notes. But then after two or three scenes, I said to myself, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna improvise. And a lot of the scenes in the film are actually there, done in the moment. Um, yeah, it was a very, very intense experience for all of us. It was fun, but it was hard, hard, hard work, especially um, during certain sequences where the actresses knew not to stop until I would say cut. So they will continue on and on and on and on. And the sequences were shot according to my own arousal. The more I got aroused, the more I got hard, the more I ejaculated, and the more the sequences became intense. Only when I came, I will say cut, and then we will stop for a few minutes. We will move on, and have 5 minutes break, 10 minutes break, whatever, and then carry on. And it was absolutely unique by all means. By all means, it was a unique experience, and the chemistry between all of us was beautiful. The chemistry between the two actresses was beautiful. Um, the energy was magnificent, and there was no way on earth that I could have made this film the way it is with other actresses.
And man to man, Gorilla, I must give you your props because when I ejaculate or bust my load, I am dead to the world. Like I'm done, paralyzed. And I credit you that you're able to still keep that vision, keep that energy, and keep on shooting.
Well, it's all about the mindset, really, because, like I said, I was on fire. Um, so it was almost like being on drugs, even though I didn't take drugs. that it was like being on drugs. I was constantly aroused by Juicy X's breasts and Mystery Woman, constantly throughout the whole weekend. I lost count how many times I actually came. So that was throughout the film, constantly, constantly. And in the film, it's it's clearly shown that I am super, super hard, and yeah, I was constantly hard. And like I said, that contributed to the idea of cinematic freedom I had in mind for this film. Yeah.
Was there anything that you wanted to be? Listen, there's a little bit of every fucking thing in this movie. Was there anything that you wanted to be in this movie, and for whatever reason you decided not to put it in?
No, I mean, anything that went to my mind, I did it. Anything. I wanted desperately to give Mystery Woman oral, and I did it. I wanted to ejaculate on Juicy X's buttocks, and I did it. I wanted Juicy X to give Mystery Woman oral, and she did it. Anything that went in my mind took place.
There's a lot of indie horror filmmakers who watch this channel and they submit their movies to this channel. So definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. But what is some advice that you could give a new filmmaker, not even a horror filmmaker, just a filmmaker? Because horror right now, it seems there's some good stuff and there's some good stuff tossed out there every once in a while. But for the most part, it seems like horror is in this hamster wheel where it's the same thing, the same looking actresses, same ideas, and okay, jump scares, gore, it's getting repetitive. What is some advice you could give a new filmmaker who's out there to help them, reach their max creative fulfillment?
The only advice I can give really is to be free, really, and not to be afraid to to do what they want. That's the only advice I can give. I mean, I never had any problem in doing whatever I wanted in films. To me, cinema is a free form of art. Whatever goes in my mind, I do it. And you know, and in this film, like I said, anything that went in my mind, I did it. So my advice to any filmmaker is do whatever you fucking want. Choose the right actresses, the right actors for any type of film you want to make, and do it. But do not make a film um, with the idea of not wanting to upset someone, because it's not about them, it's about you and your vision. And that is the only advice I can give. That's the only one, really, which is the most important advice someone can give.
I agree. I 100% agree. Now, by the way, everyone, you can watch The Benefactress. It's right now streaming on Folsom for free, so definitely check it out. By the way, I'm going to get everyone too. Trigger warning. This is if you sexual abuse, anything like that. This is not. This is intense. This is an intense film, and it's back to back. It's relentless. But I mean, it is once again. It's a cinematic masterpiece. Also, too, let's say a shout out to my man Shane Michaels with Blood Pack Films. Because I'm a huge physical media guy myself. So if you actually want to grab your DVD, go down in the description and there's a link. Gorilla, this is your last film, man. This is our last interview we're doing. This is crazy. We've been communicating and networking for the last 3 years, and it's wrapping up to end, man.
Yes, man. Yes. Yeah.
Bittersweet, man. Now, where can everyone find you?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is to find my films, which are on distribution. This film, as you say, is currently on streaming. It is also on physical media, DVD and Blu-ray, with blood-packed films. And yeah, and I live through my cinema, so they can find me in my movies.
Isn't it an amazing time that a movie like The Benefactress is up on streaming for everybody, for any and everybody to see?
It is amazing because I was actually surprised that it got accepted because uh, a lot of the horror channels are really run by pussies. You know, they are after gore, blood, whatever, but when it comes down to pornography, they kind of walk back, you know. So I was actually very surprised, and but yeah, it got accepted in on streaming, and it's going really really well. It's got very high ratings, and like I said, it's dividing public opinions. Some praise the film, and others trashed the film. There's nothing in between. But having had the experience of my previous film, Darius, I was kind of prepared. Darius is the same thing. It's causing to this day polarization. Is dividing people's opinion into those who classify the film as a masterpiece and those who trash the film. Nothing in between. And with the Benefactress, is the same thing. So normally, when a film creates such a division, 7, 8 times out of 10 is because it has a very unique quality, as I said previously on some interviews. This film is one of a kind, whether you like it or not. There are no clones of this film. You know, there's nothing like this around. You either love it for what it is or you fucking hate it for what it is. There's nothing in between.
I agree. I agree. And I've been a huge supporter of yours since the beginning, man. And I just wanted, I haven't done this, but in any of our interviews, but I mean, another huge supporter of yours since the beginning was Carol, and she recently passed away. Would you like to
Yeah,
say anything about Carol?
yeah. She's always in my heart. I did dedicate my first film, Darius, to her. She was a very close, dear friend of mine from Mississippi, and I think of her a lot. Actually, she will be proud of this film. She knew about the film, and yeah, she would have been proud. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and shout out on my side to Carol. I did it on my channel, being a huge supporter of mine as well. So
Yeah,
definitely, Carol, you're definitely going to be missed.
yeah,
All right, everyone. Well, listen, get your asses over to Folsom, the Benefactress, Blood Pack Films. Get your physical media DVD copy of the Benefactress. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for this another edition of the Horror Talk. I would like to thank the team over here at Horror Kings, Kings of Horror, I'm sorry, for allowing us to come on this channel and once again and look for more interviews for me here at the Horror Talk, here at the Kings of Horror. All right, everyone. Thank you. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button, and we'll see you next time. Take care.